Okay, this man is a renowned sales business development expert with over 12 years of consistently delivering results in product sales, leadership, and business growth. As a sales catalyst, he has engineered and closed 6 to 9 figure deals while successfully mentoring others to replicate these remarkable outcomes. He is the CEO of Pushfield Global and the visionary convener of the Game Changer Summit, where we are tonight. With a passion for empowering individuals and businesses, Francis combines real estate, real-world insights with strategic thinking to drive measurable impact. He's a lead strategist, business coach, and author. Francis has helped organizations scale and succeed even in the face of limiting factors. His customer-first mindset drives him to go the extra mile, ensuring satisfaction and long-term value at every touch point. He has demonstrated exceptional leadership by guiding his team to repeatedly meet and exceed sales targets while aligning with broader organizational goals. His book, Making the Most of It, reflects his deep understanding and, of course, of human potential, strategy, and sustained business success. Mr. Francis Ajilore remains committed to raising a new generation of sales and business leaders. And if you remember when I was talking about him yesterday, you know, we've had some encounters together, and how I describe him is actually, I call him sales energy. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome Mr. Francis Ajilore as he takes us through his session and, of course, opportunities within Pushfield. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Bio. Thank you, everyone who have made our time to be part of this summit. We recognize and appreciate everyone online. And I can't proceed without acknowledging my mentor, grand mentor, all of the above, Dr. Olumide Emmanuel. Please, if you think I'm doing well, if you think you are satisfied, kindly help me rise to your feet to celebrate him. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much. Please, you can have your seat. I understand what it means for him to be here today. I understand his schedule. Some of us have not had close to the kind of things he deals with, and yet we want to break down sometimes. So we wonder where he derives his own energy from. But amazingly, some of the wisdoms that people admire about people like us were caught from him, and he has invested in my life for over 25 years. And so you understand why I'm almost getting very emotional, but it's a great privilege to have him honor us in our inaugural edition of the Game Changer Summit. Once again, a round of applause for Dr. Olumide Emmanuel. So, yes, let me move straight to my presentation. If you could help me with the slide on the screen as well, that will make it a lot faster. So the topic I'll be taking in this summit is leveraging co-ownership and collaboration to build sustainable and predictable wealth. Because I don't also want to forget, should there be anyone in this room that has properties in prime locations in Lagos, Port Harcourt, or Abuja, but with most preference, with the data they just gave to us, where do you think I will pick? So we have more data to work with, and it will inform subsequent decisions that we want to take. So it's not out of sentiment. It is about making money for our stakeholders, right? So leveraging co-ownership and collaboration to build sustainable and predictable wealth. While Godre was also rounding up, we heard him talk about clubs and all of that. But this is much more than a club. It's a structured approach, being part of a structured system to actualize your goal. This is more of a rhetoric question. You possibly have the answers, but yet I'll still go ahead and ask. How many of us agree that real estate is one of the safest, predictable, and most profitable vehicles of wealth creation? Oh, this works. Okay, thank you. So, how many of us agree that real estate is one of the safest, predictable, and most profitable vehicles of wealth creation? How many of us can I see that by show of hand? However, how many of us have a game plan and strategy on how to penetrate and optimize the real estate space? How many of us? So that is why we actually call it the game plan, the game changer. If you've looked at the brochure, you will also realize that there should be a game plan towards the game changer in itself. Nothing happens by accident. You can climb the ladder by only being intentional. If you want to fall off the ladder, you don't need any plan. And I don't think anyone who have paid to be here wants to fall off the ladder. We shall be asking the right questions and providing suitable answers that will take us from just guesswork to experiencing that real estate pay, that real estate pays and it is safe. So you've heard people say, Godre also cited that there's money in shortlet, there's money in shortlet. He said, but most times people get, look, I'm no longer doing. It's for a reason. So before it's just a guesswork, you should have a game plan. Game plan should precede that action you want to take. By the way, what did we say TGS stands for? Educating, empowering, and creating the opportunities for you. So, highlight of what we're going to be looking, and I'm going to try to be very, very fast because I can't keep Dr. waiting. What does it mean to leverage? We said at the beginning, it's leveraging co-ownership, right? So what does it mean to leverage? We'll be looking at that. What is co-ownership in itself? Why co-ownership? So why co-ownership? Why should you co-own? Why should you consider co-ownership with us? Options of collaborations, which joint venture is one of it. We'll touch on a whole lot of other things. Collaboration, shortlet, and mid-term, long-term benefits for our co-ownership variants. You get to see all of that. So next, let's dive in. Leverage could be defined as the ability to optimize a thing to its maximum advantage. So people most times talk about cutting costs, but we don't use the word cut costs, save costs. We optimize resources at your disposal. That means milking out the best out of something. So it could be money, because most times when we say leverage, people are thinking it has to do with just money. Everything is not money. It could be money, it could be time, it could be your expertise. There are people on our team who own shares in the business who are not bringing in cash, but if we were to pay them, our running cost would be on the high side. So rather, we have them on our team, and people get to see some level of excellence. But if we have had to pay for it, what should be going into construction of projects is going into paying salaries, recurring expenses. So what is it that you have that you want to leverage on? Expertise, network, and more. What is co-ownership? Co-ownership in the context of this TGS and what we represent as Pulsefield Global refers to a situation where two or more persons share ownership rights in a property of common interest. Are we more than two in this room? Yeah. It means that the possibilities are endless. So why co-ownership? There is the saying that if you can't fly, place one house, please, let's minimize the distraction. If you can't fly, run. If you can't run, walk. If you can't walk, crawl. Just ensure that you are moving. By the way, I learned that from Dr. Lumide. Please, every clap for him. So what matters the most is that we keep moving. A few other reasons why you should consider co-ownership is it helps you to test the water. So rather than carry your 100 million naira to say, or 150 million naira, or 250 million naira to say, they say shortlet is moving, and you dive in, why don't you test the water through co-ownership? If it is not safe, if the revenue, if you multiply it by the number of those of you who own that property, and doesn't match the kind of investment that you are looking out for, then you can easily exit, trade off your stake, and it's soft landing for you. So, 2, economic constraints or funding inadequacy. So if you don't have the means to buy, like Godre said, instead of missing out of an opportunity that could fetch you 30 million or thereabout, why don't you co-own with other people with a fraction of what you have? By the way, there are quite a number of, it's not in our brochure, but if you're also looking at benefiting from co-ownership outside of the country, charity begins at home. That's why we put it there. However, in a few years, or if you intend to own properties outside of Nigeria, co-own properties outside of Nigeria, we have platforms for that and could have discussions after now. So, economic constraints and funding, like I said, if you don't have the means, explore co-ownership, which Porchfield Global does. And by the way, we tested the water before ever creating our co-ownership product that is known as Ajilore. We did that between the year 2021 to 2022, and we saw the way demands are only. For a few people who went on project tour with us yesterday, one of our delegates also passed the night in one of those facilities. Somebody else has checked in already. So we have our track record. You could also go to Airbnb to check our track record. We have data to back up what we've done. Before we felt, look, demand is much more on our own end than supply. And that's one of the reasons why we came, to explore co-ownership. Leveraging management expertise. Ugodre also did talk about the fact that, especially for diaspora customers, you can't be attending. Not even everybody based in Lagos can deal with such issues. But over time, we have built a system that not only manages it well, but also ensures that we have a patronage system. Such a way that even if we have 100 units, not just one unit, even if someday, very soon, we have 200 units, we will be able to manage it effectively. Not that we will be able to, we've created a system that manages those things seamlessly. Leveraging numbers to your advantage. One of the key things that we built in Porchfield is the ecosystem. Ecosystem is just to ensure that we continue to perpetuate funds and or revenue, as it were. And one of the key things we did is to build a community that is known as Sure Finders. Virtually everyone in this room and those ones joining us online deserve to be part of it. And the whole idea is, without the Sure Finder, without most of the community and ecosystem we built, we've had to deal with multiple pressure of meeting demand. What happens when that ecosystem is in place? If you have a stake or an interest in something, which one will you push more? The one you have an interest in, or the one you don't have an interest in? The one you are a stakeholder in, or the one you are not a stakeholder in? Your guess is as good as mine, right? So we have the numbers, and you can leverage on that as well. The prospect to scale. I tell people that something is not a business if it requires you sitting down and being involved all the time. However, if a business cannot scale, doesn't show you that, look, this is the graph of how we can progress from point A to point B, then that is possibly just trading. That is not a business. The prospect for us to scale, the best of us is yet to be seen. And watch out for the opportunities that will follow pretty soon. So why should you co-own? Anyone who doesn't have all the resources, and in the real sense, most times we don't have all the resources. Human resource are, how do they put it? There's a particular word I'm looking for, insatiable. So we don't always have all the resources, and money will never be enough. The day you have 10 billion and you feel that's all you needed, you will desire more. So, and which means that your craving for more investment opportunities will always be there. So that's one of the reasons why you should consider co-ownership. What does collaboration entail? It implies teaming up together towards achieving a common goal. So if it's not a common goal, it is not collaboration. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's equal, but the goal is, you want rental income, I want rental income. I want somebody with or without my direct involvement, I want to achieve my financial goal. If it's the same, then we have a foundational basis to proceed in collaboration. So it promotes cooperation towards achieving set goals and possibly in a record time. There's a saying that if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go with others. And if you want, I did an addition. If you want to achieve your objective in record time, combine both. And that makes it my own source. Owning a fraction of something that has capacity to grow and scale without active involvement, even among perceived competitors. And I want to address this to few developers. Their interest, for us at Porsche, we carved our own niche. But I can see my big brother here, Dr. John Adeyemi, the aspect of real estate that I may own stake in, he may also own stake in mine. Another member of the TBC is here. He could own stake in my own business. I own it, and we all continue to win. So it doesn't necessarily have to be, I want to do land, I want to combine everything. No, I carve my niche, I win and it benefits from it. So it's not, when we are pitching this thing, it's not just about those who are likely investors. Every one of us should see ourselves as one. Options of collaboration, joint venture, and which was why we announced earlier on that anyone who has landed property in prime location, we don't want agent, we don't want third party. We want to deal with rightful owners. Clean titles, and we are game. Equity ownership in the business. So I think it was during the video that we watched yesterday where they talked about if by the time a stock becomes popular, it has become overpriced. How many of us remember that? So the opportunity, such kind of opportunity will be presented to us today, co-funding projects and more. So that's also another way to collaborate. So you need to have short-term, mid-term, and long-term idea when you are drawing your game plan. And so short, mid, and long-term benefits of co-ownership. Some have ability to take care of all stages. So sometimes you approach a brand like Porschefield, we understand that none of us stand on one leg. If I stand on one leg for a while, I begin to shake. So I understand that you need to stand on both legs to gain stability. And if that's the case, it implies that you must have things that take care of your short term, mid term, and long term. Else, you will trade off that long term land that you bought at a loss to address an emergency in the short term. So it is strategic. It's part of your game plan to have your long-term plan in place while you take care of your short-term, mid-term, whatever. So our co-ownership models helps you to, fit in across various categories. It provides a systematic and predictable passage to sole ownership. One of our critical goals as an organization is to see people transit from co-ownership to sole ownership. So, but that doesn't happen without you having a plan. If you bought an aircraft, I'm sure you don't go ahead to meet the pilot to say, this is how you should find your way to the destination. So one of the reasons why sometimes, beyond just parting with your hard-earned fund, it is good to have consultation. That's what makes us consultants to you and guide you, and we take the decision together, So risk exposure is minimal. Even if something is going to go wrong, instead of you losing 100 million, let's assume, the objective of an investor at first is to ensure that their money is safe, not even the interest, except the greedy ones. Safety of your fund is the first priority. And if that is taken care of, then you can be thinking of profit, interest, return on investment, as it were. So your risk exposure should ensure that, look, my capital is safe. So there's no risk-free investment anywhere. Let nobody lie to you. So, but you can make it as minimal as possible. So co-ownership gives you that option, predictable and steady cash flow. We have the track record and it speaks for itself. What we are trying to do now is to scale up and achieve a lot more. Flexible exit options. So Now the question to you is, where are you? Where do you see yourself in all that we've been speaking about in the past few days? Like I said yesterday, the day you wake up, that's your own morning. And it is good to ask yourself the right question and be honest in your assessment. What is your risk appetite? We are at different stages of our life. So the risk, level of risk should determine what you can part away with and the kind of opportunities you want to explore. What is your next step? Because I haven't heard everything. If you don't take any step, it's likely for you to be worse off than actually remaining stagnant. Things are likely going to get worse if you don't take steps. Like Dr. Olumide will always say, not taking risk is much riskier in itself. How well are you willing to leverage the opportunities that will be presented before you? Sorry, slide is not coming up. Okay, 1,000 good intentions is never as powerful as an action taken. Wow, my presentation is so fast. Thank you very much. I had to rush it. So, you can't keep your mentor sitting down for too long. So, I would like to touch on a few opportunities. Initially, we were meant to break them and so that we don't bore you so much. But as soon as I'm done, I want a situation where he takes the center stage and, we can enjoy him to the fullest. You're already doing your hand like this. You can't wait to have me out of the stage, right? Okay. So, I will start with some of our short-term products. So I will need our Ajilore fix on the screen. So like I said earlier on during my presentation, we have things that takes care of both short-term, mid-term, and long-term. So, by the way, you also have it in your brochure. So you can tag along with me, even though I know that your mouths are getting busier. By the way, in the brochure as well, you get to see that we have our core, we have our niche, and our niche is within the housing space, either sole ownership or co-ownership. And between 2021, when we started exploring hospitality through short-let apartments, hotel apartments, and resorts. So we are currently at our short-let stage. We're trying to increase them. We did the groundbreaking for our resort project in Mowe, which was informed by the Purple line, that is rail system that's been introduced, and more importantly, because I traveled 3 hours way to Ibadan, TCC Ogere, traveled to places to explore the resort, and I saw that there's a market for it. It may not be affordable for all, but there is a market for it. So every of our decision is backed by data. So, Ajilore fix, please, let it come up screen, please. Please. So, but just before Ajilore screen, we have few, within the resort project, we have what we call buy to flip. We feel we should leverage on excess land that we still have on ground while we are constructing. So we have just about, initially, at the time we did the brochure, we had 15 units left, but we have less than 8 units left. And what the buy to flip offers our subscribers is 25% upfront rental income on that land, or 30% if they are getting it at maturity. But the minimum for this opportunity is 6 million naira, and we give land in exchange that is twice the value we give land that is valued at 12 to 15 million naira as collateral. So which means that you have either gotten your rent upfront, which is a fraction of the entire money that you dropped within 48 hours, and you only expect your interest or your capital, your principal at maturity. So, like I said, we have much more than 6 plots of land to give, but we don't want to risk all that we have for this purpose. So, we are trying to just leverage on the land that we have at our disposal, release some funds from it, and use it to fast track some of the projects that we are doing. So you can make inquiry about that. Then we have what we call Ajilore. So we have about 4 variants of Ajilore in itself. One is Ajilore Fix, and the other is Ajilore Light. Without using the slide, I'll work on Ajilore Fix at first. So Ajilore Fix avails you the opportunity to earn 90% over a 3-year period. So we are not saying 90% in 6 months, 90% over a 3-year period. We understand that real estate is a long-term project, not a short-term project. It's not a basically 12-month project that you will be able to make as much as possible. So investors' capital will stay with us for 3 years, whereas they get that 90% is prorated into 6 months rental income. And that is an investment that is tied to our existing assets. So it is not a future asset. It's tied to an existing asset that we already know what comes in and what comes out. And that's the basis for making those projections to say, okay, let us share together. And which means that for every 10 million naira, you get 1.5 million naira every 6 months. And you don't need to worry about whether pipe busted or customer came in or not. So it's our responsibility and we shoulder it. The whole idea for us is we want to increase the number of units that we can manage. We want to find ways to ensure that there's an equilibrium between demand and supply. So basically that's the summary of what Ajilore exclusive. You can get more details in your brochure. Ajilore Light, on the other hand, I'll use the same 10 million naira as an illustration. 10 million naira, but in 2 years, you get 50%. Because we understand the concerns of an average investor, what we decided to do is, instead of waiting to maturity to get either your capital or interest, so 50% of 10 million is 5 million. Are we together? Are we together? I didn't get any response. So 5 million plus 10 million gives you 15 million, right? But what we then did is to prorate it over every 6 months. So every 6 months, you get 3,750,000 naira. And by the time you are getting your third tranche of your investment and profit, you have actually recouped the whole of your capital in 18 months and marginal profit. And the last tranche becomes your extra profit. Invariably, the concern of not losing your capital has been well taken care of within 18 months. And the least you can actually use in gaining access to some of these opportunities is 1 million naira. But I tell people, the fact that they said something is least, it should not inform how you invest. You invest based on your own goal, your own objective. How fast do you want to get to your destination? How late are you? Quite a number of things that informs your decision. And more importantly, while you are taking care of short and mid-term, you should have also factored your long-term plan. So then I'll go into Ajilore growth. Perhaps maybe after that, I'll allow, okay, just a moment, sir. Let me touch on Ajilore growth. Yesterday, we were privileged to go for some project tour, Bagada and Ogba. And how does Ajilore growth works? Please, I would have loved that we check our brochures if we still have them. But if you don't, I'll just run you through it. I'll use, this is not it. So, Ajilore growth is simply a group of people coming together to own a specific property. They can decide to manage it for themselves, or they ask Porchfield to manage it for them. And I'll give a perfect illustration. We have 2 units being considered for at Bagada. The 2 units each of them is going for 300 million, which means cost of acquiring the property, furnishing the property, introducing renewable energy, because for some of us, we know that if your running cost of running a shortlet is minimal, it increases your profit. So we are introducing renewable energy. We are introducing a bit of technology. Fortunate enough, we had 7-Star Innovations talk about technologies that could help us off appliances inside of an apartment when the occupant at that time is not inside. And by so doing, we reduce costs. Quite a number of things that we can't divulge here. So the whole idea around it is to ensure that cost of acquiring that property, you are not thinking of how do I furnish, what is the ideal expectation, what are a conventional someone who wants to use a shortlet, what are they really looking out for? We know all of these things, and like we said earlier on, we have the expertise. So Bagada, for instance, is going for 300 million naira for a unit. It means that at 15 million naira per unit share, 20 people can come together. It could also be 10 people coming together to say 30 million and we own it. And it could be lesser people coming together to actualize it. And they could decide to say, we don't want Porchfield to manage it. We want to manage our things for themselves. So that is how Ajilore growth works. The same thing is applicable. We have 3-bedroom duplex in Ogba that is also going for 300 million naira. Same arrangement will be done, and people could decide to manage for themselves or ask us to manage it for them. Should I also chip this in that as a company, we are introducing a bit of technology. We should have had a display, a test run of it on how users could use it, but we will certainly reach out to all our subscribers. Going forward, you'll be able to evaluate the value, see the value of your property, your stake in each property, where, and so on and so forth. So then we also have within Ajilore Estate Ogba some set of 2-bedroom apartments. So each of those unit 2 goes for 15 million naira. So 10 people could own a 2-bedroom flat at just 15 million naira. They could decide to manage for themselves or ask Porchfield. So it's simple. But one key feature about Ajilore growth is that it is not a project at off plan. It is not a project at 70%. It's a project that will always complete, either completed or within 90 days at most. It will be completed and delivered and will start earning an income. So any project that is not around about that same period is not, we don't bring it out yet. So you can see us developing a project, but not ready for that purpose. But so the moment you sign up and you drop your money today, for instance, it means that you can say, worst case scenario, in another 90 days, we'll start raking in money. Good enough. The project we inspected yesterday, maybe I mentioned it, the 3-bedroom duplex. Somebody's already asking, coincidentally, sir, the person came in, was referred to us by Paul Mack, the chief of staff, wanted to lease a 3-bedroom duplex for 1 year. For some of you, maybe it's new to you that why would somebody want to take shortlet for 1 year? It has happened to me in the Orange Apartment project before, in one of our shortlets before. So it happens. That's what we do in our analysis. We have what we call worst case scenario, ideal case scenario, and we have perfect case scenario. Perfect case scenario happens roughly between 4 to 5 times in a year. And we know how to actualize some of those things. There are quite a number of incentives that we've garnished our packages with that ensures that people want to use our own option than, the other way around. I won't give our trade secrets if you want to hear that. Okay, so that's Ajilore growth. Then there's a particular one that I want to just touch on before I go to the major opportunity. And it's called Ajilore Exclusive. Fortunate enough, there are people in the room and possibly online who joined Ajilore Exclusive while we were building Orange Terraces in Bagada, or while Orange Terraces was ongoing in Bagara. It was at foundation level. Some people joined. It became first level. Please go to Ajilore Exclusive. Yes, what's happening? I really need. So let me display it on my iPad for those who can see. Can you see? Some people joined us at this level. That's at the first floor. Some people joined us here. Some people joined us here. But do you think they all got it at the same rate? Nope. But it's never too late. It goes for 7 million naira per unit. We have limited units left. And this is one of our bragging rights. If you don't buy, don't buy. Whatever we generate, if it is 30% stake that is left, it's Poshfield's stake. Every time we share rental, it also implies that in the next, the goal of Ajilore Exclusive is that in 5 to 6 years, we will have retained between 7 to 10 units of assets with the same capital we started. If you want to know more, it is not for public space. But if you want to join Ajilore Exclusive, meet us behind the scene. There are people who are here who are part of it. One of them just clapped. You know, so I know what I'm talking about. It's one, and the moment it closes, Ajilore Exclusive will never exist again. Ajilore, no, it's what it is. That's why it's exclusive. Ajilore Growth will always be our customer. If you want to decode it, keep cracking your brain. So aside from that, there's what we call Safe Plus. It's our new baby. It gives you opportunity. Please, I would love these things to be on the screen. Please, I beg of you. It's very, very, very important. It gives you opportunity to save, buy properties, co-own properties, and own equity in the business. Safe Plus gives you opportunity to save, buy properties, co-own properties, and own equity in the business. And the question we ask is, why settle for bread when you can own the bakery? So, Safe Plus is your smart path to wealth. At Safe Plus, we believe smart saving should be rewarding, empowering, and transformative. Choose a plan that matches your dream. So we have different packages under Safe Plus, and one is Save to Own. Instead of accessing mortgage at an interest rate, would you rather consider backward integration approach of saving towards it while you also get an interest? So let's assume you want to even co-own a property for 15 million and you save 1 million naira every month. It means that in 12 months you will have saved 12 million. However, you get a 20% interest on that 12 million. If you add 20% to it, that is 2.4 million, plus that's about 14.4. To do a co-ownership, that means you just need to add 600,000 naira to it, and you co-own a property that you will know that, okay, whatever income that is coming, whether on a monthly, quarterly, or annual basis, is for you. So Safe Plus avails you that opportunity. You could study your brochure for more details on it. You have the option of Save to Lend, because we understand that opportunities and emergencies are part of life. So it is very, very important to make provision for things that will help you address emergencies. However, for you to save to lend at a flat rate of 15%, they are always behind schedule. Yeah, it's taking me elsewhere. So Save to Lend avails you the opportunity, Save to Lend, for you to be able to optimize and maximize Save to Lend, you have to be an equity holder. That means that the guarantee that we know that you will refund our money back to us is that you have an equity in the business. So your equity serves as collateral for us. And so that means our funds are safe. Yeah, I have it here. Thank you very much. The other part is Save to Earn. So for Save to Own, we are willing to give we are willing to always reward our subscribers better. So, but if your objective is to save, so at the end of 12 months, at the end of 24 months, I want to get my cash back, we know the kind of place we will put the funds. So at that, we do 15%. So what we are implying is if 1,000 people collaborate with us, we can be able to say, okay, we have 10 projects running simultaneously and they save this amount of money on a monthly basis. So that is the opportunity for you to save, to earn. But the most and the best of it all, while the others take care of short-term, opportunities to own equity in the business is the juiciest of them all. And to own a 0.1% stake in Porschfield as an individual costs 5 million naira. What a token. What a token. Just for 5 million naira, you own 0.1% stake in Porschfield. If you're planning to own 1%, it goes for 50 million naira. But we have about few features about it. Number one, you could save to own, and all the options I said earlier on. You have access to annual profit sharing. For category of people who do our gold options, they have opportunity to invest 250 million naira, either as individuals either as an individual or people coming together to say, okay, we want to be part of this. 5% and 10% equity holders actually get an asset as part of the reward. I'll touch on that in a moment. Bill, please, can something be done about this? Okay. Then they also have an opportunity to have a seat on the board if you're doing 10%. So equity options, Safe Plus Bronze is 0.1%, which is 5 million naira. You get annual profit share. You get up to 2% discount on any asset you are buying from us. That means if you choose to buy a house, either as an individual or as a group, you get up to 2%. Principal associate status. Because you own the business, it means that you will be willing. This is not, we are selling for Porschfield. You are recommending Porschfield. No, you are not. You are part owner, so you'll be glad to recommend the brand and what we do. Then you have access to free non-residential pass to Porschfield events just like this. Also, Sale Plus Silver, 1% stake, equity stake, you get up to 3.5% discount on any asset you are buying from us. You should get a discount from a company you co-own now, shouldn't you? Should you buy at the same rate like every other person? So those are the things we took into consideration. One free residential pass to Porschfield event, annual profit share, and being a principal associate is a constant. If you're doing 5% stake, which is 250 million, your benefits include annual profit sharing, then you get up to 5% discount on asset purchase. Then you get free passes to Porschfield events like this. The most interesting part of this is that you get an asset worth 125 million naira in 3 years. So aside from your profits that you get every year, we retain houses. Part of our profit point is to retain assets, and part of it goes to our stakeholders who are up to 5% equity owner in the business. Then for Safe Plus Platinum, it is 10% and it is valued at 500 million. You have a seat on the board because you can't put that kind of money and say you're just watching from a distance. You need periodic reports. You want to be monitoring and you want to be seeing how things are. And we are open to it. That's why we included it. So up to 10% discount on asset purchase. So you obviously will get more discounts when you are making purchases. Because the goal of creating those products in the first place is to sell it now. So if you are buying it and you are buying it at a discount, it's a win-win situation for all of us. And you get an asset worth 250 million naira in 3 years. Why did we do this? Because people may be wondering, why are they selling equity? In 2021, the company I was a director in, we built 31 units of apartments in Ogba, which is the orange apartment. And while we were selling 2-bedroom flats as of July, we were selling 2-bedroom flats for 26 million. By the time the project was completed 8 months after, the project 2-bedroom was selling for 45 million. 3-bedroom was selling for 65 million. Some people bought early stage and sold. What if you are a shareholder and we didn't sell at off plan and we sold upon completion at 65 million and that money comes into your pocket? Is that not a better approach? More importantly is that we have our own strategy that we will always have more demand. Just the same way we did for shortlet, and we have more demand and supply. It's the same way we have our strategy well cut out that we will have more demand for our houses and we will always chase to meet up. Guess what? That same property as of today, you can't get it a 2-bed for 100 million. The one we went to check yesterday, I just told you, plus cost of furnishing for a 2-bedroom is going for 150 million. And we said 15 million naira per unit, 10 people will co-own it for 150 million naira within the same estate. What if it is you that own a stake in that business? Which is why we said, why settle for bread when you can co-own the bakery? So the whole idea for us is we don't want to sell at off plan. I took courses, I traveled out of the country, I've done researches before we got to this decision. And that has great impact on things that we are doing. So opportunity to own equity in Porchville today, we are only making available just 15%. Out of that 15%, we have a cooperative, Collabo Coop, which I'm going to touch on right now. Collabo Coop in itself owns shares in the company, and every member of Collabo Coop are part of what we call shore finders. So which means that every time we have people who are pushing for sales of those housing products. So 15% stock available on or before 30th of May. Will you consider it? It's left to you. And if for any reason you're looking at something to use in investing for your children, or you can't meet the minimum threshold of 5 million naira to own equity for yourself, the Collabo Coop is an avenue you could join. It's been talked about since yesterday. It's legally registered and all of that. With 500,000 naira, with the registration fee of 50,000 naira, you could also be part of that. And that allows you to say, okay, if I can't fly, I should run. If I can't run, I should walk. And if I can't walk, I should crawl. I should just ensure that I'm moving. Thank you very much.
So good. Thank you so much, Mr. Francis, for that amazing presentation. All right. Can you put your hands together one more time for the CEO for showing us some of these ropes? Can you do it again like you mean it? Amazing. So if you have questions, you want to have conversations around one of these or any of these opportunities, please just make your notes, and then when it's time for our general Q&A, present your questions.